So right off the bat, the first thing I try to do is focus on gratitude. And yeah, I know I roll, whatever, but eh, when you start the day out, you start your thought process out, you start your work, you start whatever you start. If you start with gratitude, and we do this, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before at Mount Leverage, we start most every meeting, not all of them, because it's not like this, a safety briefing you get from some giant corporation or anything, but we just start with gratitude. Like, who's got some good news? Who's got something they're grateful for? And it can be, hey, my kid just won the championship, or my kid just played in their first game, or got an A, or whatever it is. Or it's, hey, we just closed this customer and we just did this awesome thing for them, or this customer just acquired another company and they're even bigger and they're doing great. Who knows, right? And everything in between, everything and all outside of that. But it just sets the right tone. And so for me, fundamentally, if I'm starting from a place of gratitude, of counting my blessings, everything else just runs better. And I know that's willy-nilly and you can, whatever, I get it. But hey, man, it's, we're here, and it's how life works for me. So your mileage may vary, but I'm not saying you have to create a gratitude journal methodology or a protocol. Hey, more power to you. And I've done that before, and there's benefits to that. It's more about a state of mind, a state of gratitude. And that's not so easy. I think it's really easy to be critical, to be, derogatory. It's easy to do those things because there's a lot of things to point to. And candidly, news, social media, all those things are thriving on that. That's what, there's a reason your news feed is filled with a bunch of stuff that you hate, because it does draw us in. It's almost like rubbernecking, driving down the road and there's a crash next. You're like, what's going on over there? And so it pulls at us. And that's part of our DNA, our upbringing in the world. I get it. But man, if we can turn that on its head and start with gratitude, it makes a huge difference for me. So that's one. Starting with gratitude, I found to be just sets the tone for everything. And here's the reality. The thing is happening. The things are going to happen. I'm not saying we can't influence them. We can maybe do that, but things are going to happen. So your perspective about those things matters for how you feel. And so when the thing's happening, if I can come in with gratitude, it can be a hard thing. It can be a bad thing happening. And it just feels different. It hits different. And for me, it's made, it's a superpower. Gratitude is a superpower. If you could turn the corner and be a grateful person, I firmly believe you are walking around us mere mortals. You now have a superpower that makes a huge difference in your life. And I think others thrive off of that. You talk about leading and flourishing, and you can't be grateful for things. It's gonna be hard to get there. So anyway, that's one. So all the noise, the next news cycle, whatever else, I try to find things I'm grateful for, even in those news sometimes. Like you might, all right, let's say you have a disdain for a particular leader or whatever else. So on your local area or the national area or global, whatever, they can say things that are funny and you can appreciate that. They can do some things that are valuable and you can appreciate that. While at the same time, you can eye roll or you can be frustrated with whatever, but finding those things, it just helps, man. It just helps. All right. So I beat that horse dead. Gratitude, the gratitude horse. I don't want to beat it dead, but it's so critical. All right. So for me, the next two things are, again, as much of what I talk about is probably not satisfying because it's not like this easy, quick fix, click or whatever, but take care of yourself, man. So having gratitude is helpful, but if we're then run down because we're so frustrated, we're doom scrolling and we're eating poor foods because we're stressed and I haven't solved this. This whole self-care thing, but I'm really focusing on it. And the more you take care of yourself, the more energy you have, the more mindset, the ability to be patient with your kids or to be thoughtful with your employees and whatever else, whatever your role is, or with your bosses, however you're structured and whatever you're doing, the ability to be at your best from a healthcare standpoint, from a wellness standpoint, whether that's you're moving your body, you're sleeping better, starting there is a great place. You've got your meditation, prayer, whatever you've got going on, right? You're enriching your mind, all those things, taking care of yourself, that right there. So in moments of stress, it's easy to revert to things you don't take care of. And again, truth telling, I didn't have a great day yesterday. I didn't sleep well not yesterday. Sorry. Yeah. I didn't sleep well 2 nights ago. Last night I had a banner night of sleep, but the night before that, it wasn't good at all. And lots of reasons for that. And I woke up after just an hour or so, a couple hours maybe, and I wasn't feeling it, man. And you would like I double down on I want to tell you, I double down on my good my good protocols, things that I do that I know help me, whatever. No, I got some garbage food. I don't, and it didn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. But when I'm at my best, and I have taken those moments and I'm like, okay, now is when things are uncertain, things are unclear, things are bad, whatever it may be. And I double down and I go throw the weights around, or I go for a walk, or I make sure I'm doing the right thing from a diet perspective, or I'm really focusing on my sleep, whatever it may be. That always makes it better. Then I can help those around me. I can execute the way I want to execute in the world. And so in midst of everything changing, I can take control of myself. I can control what goes in what food goes in my mouth, or drinks go in my mouth. I can control those things, and it does help. It helps from a standpoint, for me, from a standpoint of all these uncertainties flying around. Here's what I can focus on. So again, gratitude is a mindset, not just writing down a journal. That's great. Do that, sure, if you want, but a mindset of gratitude, but then take care of yourself. That's really important. And whatever it is you need, and we could talk, there's so many people that are better than me at that they could talk for hours on this stuff, but we'll talk more probably at times it'll come up, but there are that right there is the baseline. But then the piece, right? If you're going to flourish, flipping it around, taking care of others. If you're only focused, and you see so much of this today, and I hate it because I see people I love, they're just so narcissistic. They're focused on themselves and like, why didn't somebody do this for me? Or and I'm just like, bro, man, come on, you're just about you. And I'm not that they're bad people. It's just we get pulled into this. And I love, so I'm a red-blooded American, just like many of you are that are listening. Not all of you are, and that's cool. You're a red-blooded whatever you are. But I mean, there's an individualism that comes with this. And like, you're an individual, and okay, cool. And that's good. And I've embraced that in my life at times for sure. But there's still a communal piece to this. There's a community of, why are you an individual? Why are you free? How are you free? There's a community that goes with all of that. And so, having a mindset of gratitude, taking care of myself, and then taking care of others. There's a podcast I used to listen to, and I still occasionally, maybe it's like Freakonomics or something, where the ending, he says, take care of yourself, and if you can't, take care of someone else. I mean, I always loved that phraseology. Maybe it's been used otherwise. Maybe that's I think that might be a quote out of a book, a classic. I don't remember. But anyway, somewhere it is written, somewhere it is said, as the writer of Hebrews would say, right? Somewhere it is written, take care of yourself and take care of others. And that take care of others piece is awesome. And that doesn't have to be, you need to go rescue somebody from a burning, house or anything. I mean, certainly do that. Awesome. But just being kind. And for me, being kind in those minor moments. You see the delivery person, right? The mail carrier, whatever it is, and you're kind to them. That's good for them. That's good for you. You're out and about. Maybe you're at the shopping center, grocery store, whatever it is, gas station, doesn't matter. Those things. But being deliberate also, like, how can I actively help this person that I'm talking to? So you talk about in a company and you're engaging with employees or whatever, and I'm not just thinking about myself and taking care of me. I'm also thinking about, what does this person need from me right now? How can I help them? And you don't run around, you're not the world's savior. That's not it either. But just shifting just a bit from, how can I make my life better? Because I'm stressed and I've got this uncertainty, and I'm the CEO, daggone it, and there's all these challenges, and I gotta, yeah. Fine. Or I'm the dad. You kids there's all these things you don't know about paying bills. Of course. But what do they need from me in that moment? And that doesn't make the problems go away or the uncertainty go away that's out there, but it does give me a chance to connect with them in a way that I think is at that lower vibration that's a fundamental to things. And so all three of these things, guys, I know they're not tactics for how to navigate the news cycle. There's things we could talk about with that. But man, this is like 80-20. This is like the 80 in my opinion. And again, there's lots of other things I might do in a day or in a period when I'm struggling, a season of struggle, of uncertainty, which we're in. But these three right here, gold. They're gold for me. Again, maybe, your mileage may vary, but having a spirit of gratitude, superpower. Focusing on yourself, restorative. You got to be strong for others. You got to be strong. And then sharing that in a way, taking care of one another. That's we are a community of people in every major civilization, religion, philosophy, whatever. There is a notion of one another. There's a notion of community. There's a notion of loving thy neighbor and all the things. I mean, one of the things I love about West Virginia, and I'm a hillbilly and I love it, and that's fine. And this is going to be different in every community. I didn't grow up in your community, so maybe your community is the same way. But one thing I love about it, we got a lot of problems, and you can easily point to all the socioeconomic challenges. Yeah, easy money. And before you start telling a joke, I could have written it for you. I've heard them all. So fine. But when something goes down, when someone needs something, when a neighbor needs help, when something down the road happens, people are checking in on one another. That's that neighborly piece. And I'll tell you all the quality of life stuff that people can point to in any small rural community and all that stuff, that right there, that is big. And it's hard to measure, and it doesn't get measured on these surveys that get put out there. But I love that here. And so I try to share that in the larger community that I'm working in. That's why we're doing Flourishing, right? That's all part of this is I'm sharing with you things that maybe are of value to you. If it's not, you don't have to tune in. That's cool, but maybe they're of value to you. And so, sorry, I got off on a Homer tangent there, but it's just magic. It's magic. And so, of all the clever things you can see on X, Twitter, whatever, you can see on Instagram of all these cool things people can do. Oh, try this and do these 5 moves. And yeah, okay, cool. Those things are neat. But fundamentally, spirit of gratitude, take care of yourself and take care of one another. That helps me survive all of the frenetic weirdness that goes on in the world today. So you're in the midst of this wild news cycle. And if you're a leader in an organization or whatever else, even just as a consumer, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect us all. You can get wrapped around it and you can curl into a ball and you can absolutely want to just lay there and die. I get that. And I'm not making light of true challenges and depressions and things that are real in many of our lives. I'm not making light of any of that stuff, but starting with gratitude, taking care of yourself and making a point to take care of one another makes a big difference. So with that said, I just speaking about taking care of one another, I really appreciate, each of you who've offered feedback, who've brought in questions, who've rated our podcast, all of that. It does help me. And so I've just asked you to share this with a person, share this podcast with someone who might be struggling with the news cycle. You maybe heard them really frustrated about what they saw on this channel or that channel, maybe the two opposite channels or all the 15 that go outside of them, or they read something or whatever. Just share it with someone who's struggling with the news cycle. Don't tell them that's why you're sharing it with them, but go ahead and share it with them. And, maybe that'll help us grow this group and find more folks who are like-minded and looking for a way to flourish. So with that said, I hope wherever you may be, regardless of the news cycle, you are flourishing.